Hello, how are you guys? My name is Tracy Jackson, also known as the Spiritual Cheerleader, and I'm coming to you with lesson one from A Course in Miracles workbook. I completed 365 lessons last year, literally yesterday, and the course has changed me completely. Um, Over this past year, and I wanted to kind of give back in the way that I was given and taught about the course to kind of help others navigate through it, because I know that sometimes it can seem daunting and a bit overwhelming to those who have not necessarily encountered these teachings before. I, just to give you a little background, have worked with Gabby Bernstein and Marianne Williamson. In Gabby, I've gone to her Spirit Junkie Masterclass level 1 and 2 trainings. With Marianne Williamson, I've read a ton of her books on the subject matter. I've also read from, Gabby and Gary Renard as well. So I have gotten a lot of introspection into the course and learned a lot of the concepts of the course through the works of those authors. And so, kind of, it, to me, it felt fairly easy to transition into reading the course uh, workbook because of that. Like, the concepts were already concepts that I was familiar with somewhat, and so it wasn't as hard to um, take in. And I do highly recommend to those who might not really have a grasp on the concept of what the course is all about to read something like Return to Love by Marianne Williamson, or to read A Course in Miracles Made Easy by Alan Cohen. Those two I've heard are I've read A Return to Love. I haven't read A Course in Miracles Made Easy, but I've heard that many people like that one in helping them to understand the course as well. I think Disappearance of the Universe by Gary Renard is really great as well. However, I do feel like you need to have some basic knowledge of the course and when reading that book. So let's get to it. Firstly, the course, the one I recommend you get is the combined volume, um, because it has the text, the workbook for students, the manual for teachers, and it's got some other stuff here. You can get that on Amazon. That's where I got it. Obviously, in the preface, it gives you a little bit of insight into how the course was created. This introduction is the introduction that is referenced so often. Many people, Marianne Williamson said that, like, she read the introduction and was like, "What the heck? Who do they think they are?" Right? But it summarizes the course in these two lines: "Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists." And it talks about the fact that the course is really uh, helping us not to really learn the meaning of love, but to remove all blocks to the awareness of love's presence. And that in turn generates the miracle. And so that is what the course is all about. And then it goes into the text of the course, which you can read at your own pace. I will be quite honest with you. I did not go through the text as much. I'm currently reading it now along with the workbook lessons. So uh, the the way that I explain it is the text is like the true, like the course. It gives you the principles, it gives you all of the guidance. The workbook helps you to train yourself to kind of take in the guidance of the text. So it almost it almost to me seems easier to go through the workbook first and then read the text, because the concepts are so much more understandable after going through the workbook exercises. It's almost like the like working out. Somebody can tell you like, hey, to work out you need to eat healthy and you need to go to the gym, or you need to lift weights, or do some kind of cardiovascular work, right? But the exercises that you're given, each one is specific to target a certain area or target a certain region. And that's exactly how the course is set up. The text gives you kind of the overview of everything, but the exercises really help you get down into the nitty gritty of incorporating it and integrating it into your daily life. And so it says it here. It says, the purpose of the workbook is to train your mind in a systematic way to a different perception of everyone and everything in the world. And they go through and they speak specifically on how you're supposed to take each of these lessons, and I definitely advise you to read that introduction in the workbook, because it really kind of explains how you're supposed to take on each of these lessons. And so lesson one and the first part of the course is really about um, almost like an unlearning. It's an unlearning process. Like it's basically taking away everything we've always known to be true about the world we're living in. It takes away those conceptions that we've had from birth, and it's giving us a new perception of those things. And so the first lesson is the nothing I see in this room, on the street, from this window, in this place means anything. Nothing means anything. Nothing I see means anything. And you go through this lesson, and it tells you, that you should do it morning and night, like no more than twice for today, because you're putting yourself into it. And let me just tell you, this might bring up feelings for you, especially if the things that you're looking at in your room are not inanimate objects but are real people. To say that nothing I see means anything is hard for a lot of people. But the reason that it's saying this is it's training you. It's training your mind on the course's message. Going back to that introduction of nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists, right? Um, Nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists. So nothing I see means anything. That means, obviously, maybe some of these things that I'm seeing are not real. Maybe, and maybe in that way they don't exist. They don't have the meaning that I'm placing with them. It's a sense of detachment. It's a sense of, not getting so attached to the objects that we see in our daily lives, or the people that we see in our daily lives. And I did a lesson with this with Colette Baron Reed, on this whole sense of detachment. um, the sense of detachment, it's gut wrenching. It feels gut wrenching, because you literally are saying that you're giving up your attachment to these people and these things and to these relationships and whatever. But the thing is that when it's all said and done, you're free. You're free to be you, when you give up those attachments to those things. And it doesn't mean that those people can't be in your life. It doesn't mean that you're not you're not still caring for them if you're a parent, or that you're not still loving them if it's your spouse or whatever. Like, it doesn't mean any of that. It just means that you are not so wrapped up in them that you forget who you are. That's basically what this is, and that's what this first lesson is really teaching you. So I hope that that helps with day one. I my goal is to do all of these. Um, you know, basically all 365 lessons of this. I guess towards the end, since 361 through 365 are basically the same lesson, and in some areas of this, it's the same lesson. I'll, maybe do one video for all of those lessons, or when we do reviews and things like that, I won't necessarily go back and do all of the review for you, but I will talk about the review periods, and you can go back to the lessons, the daily lessons from those reviews if you have questions on um, that particular idea that is being reviewed for the day. But I invite you to really take in the course and enjoy the course. It's something, like I said, um, that really changed me this year and made me see the world in a different way. So I hope that it helps you to see the world a little bit differently this year as well. And I hope that you join me here for this. All right, bye.